All right, I got two of these beautiful Montong durians grown here. And this is not in season, which is why I'm pretty lucky with this, but if you look here on the inside, that is beautiful. I'm excited to eat this. I haven't actually eaten lunch today. But anyways, enough of the small talk. Our goal for finding the Red Headed Krait, or pretty much any krait in general, has not been successful so far. It's been about a week. We're going out at night. We're finding a lot of really cool species. We're probably averaging 8 to 9 snakes per night, which is okay. All it takes is just one rainfall and we could run into 20 or 30 snakes in one night. And we're crossing our fingers that we'll have one of those nights and run into a red-headed krait. That would make this entire trip. That is the goal. So tomorrow we're gonna head up to Krabi and we're gonna explore some mangroves and forests and some more limestone karsts up in Krabi. And we're gonna stay there for a couple nights and then we're gonna head on up to one of my favorite places in Thailand, which is gonna be Khao Sok and Khao Lak National Forests. So that's pretty much gonna be our final push for this red-headed krait. And then we might do a couple herping trips a little bit further north, but at that point, there's no more red-headed kraits. This is pretty much it down in southern Thailand, in the peninsula. So yeah, I'm optimistic. We just need one rainstorm and the snakes will come out. But I'm gonna show you real quick, actually. So in our accommodation here, we have found like a lot of snakes. And I took probably, I don't know, 30 steps right now. And we're by this river. So our accommodation's here and we're by this river. This river has so many snakes. There's even turtles, monitor lizards. And yeah, it just takes a little bit of rain and everything comes out of the woodwork. So I'm gonna eat some durian and then we're gonna head out for another round of night cruising. We saw a big reticulated python last night. We couldn't get it though. But we're gonna go again. We're gonna try and see what we can find, what we can pull up, and go from there. But this is Pattalong. Gonna finish it up and then start heading back north.
Since most of the herping happened at night, during the day we would focus on taking photographs of our snakes and releasing them right back where we found them. One of the snakes we caught at our accommodation was the flying snake. We wanted to see the snake actually take flight, so we sent it up a tree and pretended to chase it with sticks to see if we could get it to launch out of the tree and fly into the tree right next to it. And this is normal behavior. I've chased so many of these snakes in the past while they're up in trees, and they would just hop tree to tree to get away from me. So we were hoping on catching this behavior on film, but unfortunately this snake was not comfortable enough to fly. It is what it is, but at least we got the opportunity to run into such a beautiful snake in the first place. We also took out some of the water snakes. We still had one of the mud snakes as well as a rice paddy snake, and we got them back in their natural environment, which was leaf litter and shallow water, and they calmed down a lot. So we got some really neat footage of these snakes and we're able to let them go right there. One interesting thing about a lot of these water, mud, and rice paddy snakes is if you look at the head, the eyes are positioned a little bit closer to the front and top of the head, and it almost looks like they're looking up. And this helps them when they're among leaf litter and in rice paddies to see their prey a lot better, rather than snakes that maneuver on land that can look forward and chase down rats or frogs or things like that. Our pipe snakes are also really cool because from a distance it's really difficult to tell which is the head and which is the tail, and that's all on purpose. In case the snake needs to get away, it just raises its tail up. Later that night, it was time to do something different. We decided to take a trail behind our campsite up to a network of limestone karsts and some cave systems.
Wow, this is a legit cave, like with formations.
Here in Thailand, there are a lot of cave systems just like this, and there's plenty of species that live in these caves. Everything from amphibians like frogs to arachnids like centipedes and spiders, and there's also some reptiles in here as well. The main goal for coming to a cave like this, especially now in the middle of the night, is to find a special snake called a cave racer.
I heard there's some real big ones in there.
Oh, they get pretty big.
Yeah. Come on. That's it.
We were still early in the cave, and we were finding tailless whip scorpions, frogs, and some small bats. But we decided to keep going deeper and deeper, looking for those specific spots where the snake might hang out. These cave racers are pretty sizable snakes, and they look and behave a lot like some of the radiated racers that we caught earlier.
Yep.
These cave racers do eat a lot of the bats and rodents that are inside the caves, but they also sometimes leave the cave and look for prey elsewhere. We eventually arrived at a large open space in the cave. There were a lot more bats in this area and some rats on the ground, which are good prey for the snake. We walked a little bit further and reached this pond, and at the very end, we saw a coil of what looked like a snake.
That's a big one.
As we got our lights on it, we realized we just found a cave racer. It is out of reach. There's no way we're going to get across to grab the snake, but at least we knew they're here.
Yeah, that's it set up there, isn't
It didn't take much more hiking to find another cave racer, but this time it was within arm's reach. These snakes hang out on the limestone, just like this, waiting for bats to fly by, and it shoots out and grabs the bat in midair.
It's always the way, isn't it? If you don't bring your camera, nothing will happen.
You didn't bring your camera, huh?
These snakes, even though they are some of the most visually stunning snakes that I've seen in Thailand, they're also extremely aggressive, and even though these are non-venomous, we wanted to make sure we didn't take a bite because they are eating bats and rodents and animals that could carry
This is
disease.
a beautiful snake.
Well, it's worth coming in.
Yeah.
Chilling now.
All right, go ahead.
We finally got the snake to calm down enough to handle it and decided to let it go right where we found it instead of removing it from the cave. We released the snake on the same limestone ledge that we found it, and it was pretty cool to watch a snake climb the limestone so effortlessly. Normally I'm used to seeing snakes climb around rocks or up trees, but actually seeing it climb the walls of a cave like this was pretty special. I've been in a lot of caves in Thailand, but have never once seen a snake. So to find 2 cave racers in one night was pretty rewarding. But don't go anywhere. Up next, we're going to head north towards Krabi. I'm going to find 27 snakes in one night, which is a personal record.
No, slow loris.
We're going to run into a couple slow lorises
It's right here.
and some angry spiders, so stay tuned.